All right, Tony, I know you're trying to do a setup right now, but I have to get this off my chest. Doug effing Pederson absolutely is gutless. I mean, honestly, this guy, it doesn't even bother me the fact that the Giants didn't make the playoffs because of him, because the Giants are 6-10. If they wanted to make the playoffs, they should have won more games. But for them to actively tank at the last game of the year, a game that the NFL spent the entire day celebrating that they were going to get to 256, is absolutely gutless. Why not just call NBC and be like, hey, you know what you guys should do? Move us, because I plan on playing Nate effing Studfeld for the second half or whatever. I'm going to take out the quarterback that I'm trying to evaluate, pretend I'm evaluating a backup that's been on my team for 3 years, and then we're just going to take this game. So yeah, go ahead, Washington. You get in there. You don't have an effing name, but just go win the game or whatever.
They should have put in Carson Wentz, because they still could have tanked the game, but at least not got called out for it.
Carson Wentz didn't even have pads on. So Sudfeld was like the backup. Wentz refused to even do his exit interview. If that tells you how crappy that the Eagles organization is. Ooh, we won a Super Bowl. You won a Super Bowl because you had a really good offensive line and Frank Reich. Frank Reich is why you won a Super Bowl.
I wish I could use that argument. Ooh, you won a Super Bowl. I just can't.
They won a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl because they got hot at the right time. They had Nick Foles, who was playing outside of his skull. I mean, you talk about the power of Christ compelling you. That guy loves two things: Jesus and winning massive games that he has no business winning. Right? He can't win regular season games, but for whatever reason, this guy just comes to the clutch in the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. But that being said, yeah, old 9-incher there, but. That being said, the fact that Doug Pederson won a Super Bowl and now has lost the locker room, and Jason Kelce is calling him out. Brandon Graham did the politically correct thing and defended him, but he looked a little dejected on the sideline. I mean, you think guys like that, Fletcher Cox has been on that team forever, just to be confused, like they're going out there to win a game. And a lot of people are giving Joe Judge crap for, saying all the stuff he said about, as a Giants guy, I wouldn't ever do that. F that crap. It's just ridiculous, because it's an absolute violation of the integrity of the game. But I guess it's Philadelphia, so they should be used to people that just choose not to win, like the 76ers did, to get out of shape Joel Embiid, to get Ben Simmons. You're going to pull
Bill Murray and just start crapping all over Philadelphia?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I should. But it's not even the Philadelphia people. I mean, they're passionate fans. They deserve their team. But at the same time, it's just not fair to them to be like, hey,
people that deserve nothing good in life. I've been to Philly for games. No. They're scum. Pure scum.
That is Tony DeNicola. He lives in Syracuse, New York. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, you're not wrong on that. But at the same time, I mean, they did cheer for Michael Irvin, breaking his neck or whatever, and his football career being over. But at the same time, dude, I just don't understand how you just actively tank in the middle of a game and then try to justify it at the end. And I wish I would have thought of this point, but I'm actually going to steal it from somewhere. Colin Cowherd said this, which is like, when little kids are lying, they tend to get really long-winded on their reasoning on why they lied or why they didn't lie. And that's what Doug Pederson did. He was rambling on about the offense and about how, I want to give Nate Sudfeld a look. He's been on your team for 3 years. You haven't looked at him yet? If you need to evaluate him in week 17 of a game by pulling a guy that you put in, a rookie quarterback that you put in over your $60 million quarterback, then you should be fired just for that. But to put the lie,
what are you evaluating him for? At what point is he going to start?
Right, he's not.
You drafted Jalen Hurts. You owe Carson Wentz a ton of money. What's the evaluation for? Maybe you put him at wide receiver and you want to evaluate that. I don't understand.
Right, and their best player on offense, who they don't ever give the ball to in times when it matters, they'll run him 11 times in the first half and then 5 times in the second half. I feel like I see that every week. Miles Sanders said, man, if I'm being honest, nobody liked the decision. Nobody, Sanders said. That's all I can say, really. I don't know what the main person. I don't know who the main person was behind that decision. All I know, a lot of people on the team were confused. Yeah. He's not wrong. He's the people on the team. What about the freaking 15 million people that stayed up on the East Coast to watch the game?
Yeah.
And then they have to tune into Nate Sudfeld on 256 in the middle of a pandemic where the NFL somehow pulled off this season. That's absurd. And poor Al Michaels actually had to leave his house, go all the way to cold ass Philly, and then he's up there trying not to say anything mean until after the 2-minute warning, and then he's like, I don't understand what they're doing. And then there's people defending it too, which is even crazier to me. I don't know, dude. It's the biggest chicken shit move I've seen in sports probably ever. But I mean, I don't know. I can't even think of
it's chicken shit because it was on prime time, because we all saw it. If somebody does it at 1 o'clock and we can tune to different games, it's not as big of a story. The fact that it was the final game of the year, all eyeballs are on it. like, yeah, it's going to get the most publicity. It's going to get the most. It's going to be talked about the most. Like,
it is talked about the most because
it was NBC about this game too. Like, I called it from the beginning. I'm like, this is a terrible idea to put an NFC East game on in primetime. And like, I get it was the one game where you absolutely had a scenario where a division would be won or lost. But like, we had that amazing Tennessee and the Houston game.
Yeah.
Which just was fireworks at the end. Like, I put that on in primetime. Like, you pick an NFC East game and you're playing with fire. You kind of ask for it in a way.
So what do people always say about the NFL? It's a copycat league, right? So did Houston put in their backup, or did they play Deshaun Watson for an entire 60 minutes? And not only did they play them, Romeo Crennel, who is way too old to be an NFL head coach. I wish the guy was my grandpa, but like, he's way too old to be an NFL coach. But what did he do? His team played super hard, and they were actively trying to win that game, right? Jacksonville was actively trying to win that game. These teams that had nothing to play for,
to be fair,
actively trying to win a game.
Doesn't have draft positioning to play for because I went to Miami. If anything,
no, that's fine. But can you give me another scenario where a coach actively pulled a superior quarterback at the end of the season where it would affect their draft spot? Like, I mean, that's what Pederson did. It was a draft spot thing.
And it's really foolish, too, because you're trying to move on from Wentz. I would think you want to see more of Jalen Hurts. Like, right. You want all the reps possible.
And who's going to want to go there after Peterson pulls something like that? Because they're not going to fire him. So who's going to want to go there and play for a coach that has no regard for his team? It's absolutely ridiculous. And maybe I feel this way because it's about the Eagles, but honestly, I really didn't want the Giants to make the playoffs, to be 100% honest. I did not want to have the distinction of being a fan of the team that was 6-10 and went to the effing playoffs. That seems like it makes no sense at all. So I don't care that the Eagles lost. I just wanted a little bit of integrity, and that's what they didn't have. And that's where I think it was a little unfair to the viewers, the fans of the Eagles. I think even Washington, because Washington they're sitting there with this like kind of asterisk win, and they made it to the playoffs on false pretenses in a game that Philly could have absolutely won. Isn't like Alex Smith was setting the world on fire. It's Jalen Hurts was starting to get a little bit of a rhythm. And if you really want to evaluate somebody, having Jalen Hurts playing one of the best defenses in the league, I don't know. I feel like you can gain a lot out of that. He would have a lot of confidence going into the offseason for a job that is probably going to be his next year. And he took it from a quarterback who was the MVP if he doesn't tear his ACL 3 years ago. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Stuff has changed too, like how his stock is just completely plummeted.
Dude, Carson Wentz is Penn National Gaming at the beginning of the pandemic. It went from like $40-some a share to $3 a share. And if you would have bought it in March, it's now like up over $80-some a share. I feel like when somebody's going to buy low on Wentz, and by buy low, I mean, they're obviously going to have to pay his contract. The Eagles are going to need a ton of money, but like an arm talent like that, you would have to give up multiple first round picks. And I don't think you're going to have to. And if this hits and the Colts have a ton of cap room, if this actually works out and the Colts get him, that's ridiculous. I know where you're going to go with this. And I know what McAfee said, but at the same time, it does make the most logical sense because they need a quarterback. And I mean, the Colts
if I'm the Colts, I would trip over myself to go get Stafford.
I 100% think that, but there's
defense and a running game stuff he's never had before, and the dude is tough as nails. Like,
no, I 100% agree.
In Indy, it makes them an AFC contender.
Yeah, I think if they have anything that resembles a competent quarterback, I think they're a favorite to win the AFC. I think they're every spot but quarterback is kind of a B or better.
I just don't know who's going to pay for Wentz because he's basically owed like $45 million, like the third week into the season next year in 2021. That's a lot of money to put forward on a questionable guy when you could just try to draft a guy and get 4 years cheap.
That's fair. But at the same time, I think that there's Peter King is one of the very few guys that's kind of plugged in and kind of knows what's happening with the NFL. And he has something about Stafford going to the Patriots. And them kind of going to Forker Press. I personally think, and I am nowhere near the level of Peter King, but obviously, but I honestly see Jimmy G going back to the Patriots. Honestly, I do. He doesn't have to learn the system. He knows the system, and he's coming with a bunch more experience. I mean, that guy is made of pixie sticks and Play-Doh, but at the same time, like, he's been in New England. He's well aware of that culture. And, I think with a competent quarterback with Damian Harris and some and Bird and who's the other receiver they have that's pretty good? But Jacoby Myers, I think that's not a bad offense. Like, I mean, granted N'Keal Harry's a dumpster fire, but anyway, back to the Eagles.
Yeah, real quick, I'm looking up Stafford's contract so he's got a potential out next year, $19 million in dead cap, which the Lions are probably just going to blow it up and just rebuild, so they could just eat that.
Right.
Can you imagine if he's on the open market though? A quarterback, the quality of Matthew Stafford on the open market, like that'll be fun as hell to watch. Especially if those teams draft in the top 5 who might want a quarterback, maybe they don't necessarily get the guy they want, then are they maybe looking Stafford's way, or do they pull the trigger beforehand and then adjust their draft plans?
Right. And it does look like where do they draft? They draft 7th. It's a pretty quarterback heavy league. Who knows how the guys will rise and fall? But I mean, it's pretty obvious that Lawrence is going first, Fields is going second, and Wilson is going third. But then that kind of leaves Mac Jones and Kyle Trask, and maybe one of those guys ends up in Detroit, or maybe the Jets decide to stick with Darnold and trade out of that pick and build around Darnold. I have no idea what they're going to do. I think they're crazy.
Or maybe the Cowboys go crazy and like, oh hey, we can't pay Dak, and let's take a quarterback. Which I would hate that move because I love Dak, but financially it makes the most sense.
Yes, but
Cowboys don't make financial sense, so I'm not even going to really get into that.
No, they paid a running back who's fat and with COVID a bunch of money, so it doesn't make a lot of sense either. But the thing about what Indy should do if Dak were to come available, I mean, that's a match made in heaven, honestly.
Yeah,
I think that
I would become a partial Colts fan.
I probably would too. I actually really like Dak, honestly, but But anyway, let's put a bow on this Eagles thing. Doug Pederson somehow has his job. I don't understand. He's a chicken shit coach. He's a guy that played for a tie. I don't understand what he does. I don't like him. I don't think he's a good coach. I think he's one of those guys. He's like a card shark. He's
a hot coordinator that got some pub and then got a big contract, and we see it so many times. Like who the flavor of the month.
Yeah, he was Brett Favre's backup for a while too, but he's just like. Those like guys that have like weird scummy professions where it's like he's like
New York State governor,
New York State governor, see that I can't even do better than New York State governor. I was gonna say he's used apparel guy who sells NFL equipment on eBay and is a grown man asking for autographs from 23-year-old athletes.
God, that guy.
But I think
one of those guys at spring training down in Florida years ago for Orioles Braves game, and like I was a child at the time, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's a loser.
Yeah, exactly. The worst is when the guy sends their kid to go get autographs so they can sell out their stuff too. I remember seeing a
or foul ball guy who like does analytics to figure out where foul balls often fall in each stadium, and like.
Did you see that guy on Real Sports? The foul ball guy?
No, because I probably want to punch my TV.
I wanted to punch him like hard. Yeah. But
I just picture I don't even know what he looks like, but I can picture him. And I literally picture a guy with a face where it's like, yeah, I would hit that guy.
He was bragging that he got a foul ball during COVID. Like he got a baseball actually here in Buffalo from Salen's Field. I don't know how the hell he got it. I was probably during
a highway and he got drilled by a truck. That's what
because that's right on the Skyway, that thing. Yeah. So it'd be nice if he did get hit or fell off the Skyway, honestly. I don't necessarily want him to die, but maybe sprained ankle, severe sprain.
Enough where not paralyzed, but he's gonna remember it.
He's gonna have a substantial hospital bill. So all right, let's move on to the playoffs where the Buffalo. Go ahead. Oh yeah, I thought you. I'm sorry.
No,
let's just move to the playoffs. Like I'm saying,
not say it when someone mentions playoffs.
I'm sorry. I know it's impossible. Jim Mora will live on in infamy for that. So the Buffalo Buzzsaws, as I'm calling them, because they are absolutely ripping the league apart. I think if the Bills play like they have been, there's nobody on earth that can beat them in a game of football. Like
dude, they are white freaking hot. Like they came out for the Miami game, which they didn't really need to win. So yeah, they could get the 2 seed over Pittsburgh rather than the 3. And they just put their foot down on their throat on a good defense, on a very opportunistic defense, and we're just like, finish him. Like roundhouse kick him in the skull, kick him while he's down, kick him after the whistle. Like that was an absolute burial. Well, they put up 56 points, was the second most all time in franchise history, and they put in the backups. You kidding me?
Which is crazy town. Yeah. So
And Miami is fighting for their playoff lives, and Buffalo destroyed them. Like that is impressive as hell.
It really is. And honestly, like the Bills since in the last 6 games, they're 6-0. They are scoring 38.2 points a game. They have 100. That's after the Hail Mary. So they have 119 point differential, and yards per game differential is 675. All of which are first place. They're absolutely on fire. Like ever since, so the Hail Mary game was November 15th. So they beat the Chargers 27-17, 34-24 against the Niners, 26-15 against a good Steelers defense, 48-19 against Vic Fangio, who is considered a defensive savant, 38-9 against the Bill Belichick-led Patriots. Again, another defensive, guru.
After that game, I just picture every Bills fan was just Randy Marsh at his computer table, just covered in ectoplasm.
Yes, 100%. And then 56-26 against Brian Flores, who's also another defensive wizard. I mean, just what they have done in the last, since that Hail Mary, you talk about waking up a sleeping giant, man. And not to mention, they put up 44 points
against the Hail Mary. That was. I mean, let's make no bones about it. Buffalo Bills fans, it's a tortured franchise. For the past 25 years, they've been the butt of every joke. And to come off what is generally one of the most crippling moments in a franchise's history, that Hail Mary, and to just put your foot on everybody's throat and just steamroll through teams, that just shows you the change of culture. Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane have completely 180'd the culture in Buffalo. They're not going to take it anymore. They're not going to be the doormat. They're going to punish everybody. They could have folded after that game, and instead they motivated the crap out of them. This is not your older brothers or your child like Buffalo Bills. This team is the favorite, man. I'm excited to say it for Bills fans. They freaking deserve this.
No, I really am too, and I am really excited for Bills fans, and everybody in my life is a Bills fan, and they really do.
And they're awesome people. They're my favorite people. I love those sons of bitches to death. They're a bunch of drunkards. They want to go through tables. They want to have a good time. They're my favorite people.
Oh, there's nothing you can say about a Bills fan that's more accurate than they love to have a good time. So I actually went to the Colts-Bills game a couple years ago where they got all that snow. And first of all, my buddy Sean had the line of my life, which he said, he was like, I would last longer with Carrie Underwood than you did at that Bills game. And I was like, that is accurate. I was miserable. I was so cold. But dude, there's people when I was walking up into the concourse to get warm, there's dudes with shirts off, rubbing freaking snowballs in their belly buttons. They're absurdly big belly buttons. It was ridiculous. So they absolutely deserve it.
Ice cubes on their nipples to warm up. Buffalo,
yeah, 100%.
Breed, man. I thought Syracuse, and I'm a snow blow my driveway and shorts kind of guy. I always wear shorts all winter long. And I thought I could handle the cold and the snow, and I was tough about it. But Bills fans, Bills Mafia is a whole nother level. Just maniacs. And I love them, man. I love them.
Yeah, no, they really are the best. And you've never experienced anything like if you've ever experienced a Bills tailgate. But what I was going to say about about what McDermott and Beane have done, so they come in, they just clean house. They get rid of Sammy Watkins, they get rid of Darby. They get
and they got blasted for it. They traded away all their talent to get picks.
They did, and they ended up making the playoffs that year. That was the year they broke the streak. Then they really purged the roster in the offseason. They drafted Josh Allen, who everybody was like, why are you drafting this super wild, inaccurate quarterback from Wyoming?
Yeah. I knocked it when they made the move. I thought they should have taken
Rosen?
Darnold, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Well, but
I was wrong.
But yeah, a lot of people were, and that nobody really knows anything, honestly. A lot of Giants fans were mad we didn't take Haskins over Jones. So, but I think what they've done is they've been super patient, and they've done something that the Jets didn't do. The Browns did. I will give the Browns credit. They actually did what I'm going to say. The Cardinals didn't have time to do because Josh Rosen was kind of bad from the jump. But if you look at what some teams have done to these really talented quarterbacks, they don't really surround them with a ton of talent. The Bills have actively surrounded Allen with talent. Their offensive line, what they did the first year with Allen with the offensive line was absolutely amazing. They just revamped it in an offseason, which was absolutely amazing. They had Deion Dawkins. Everybody else they just, Eric Wood retired. I mean, obviously Eric Wood was on that team too, but they kind of just moved everybody along. They got a bunch of swing guys, and they were able to kind of rotate offensive linemen. They had 6 starting offensive linemen, and they would kind of rotate, like I want to say it was Quentin Spain or whatever, which I thought was really smart. They added Cole Beasley, who, as a Giants fan and you as a Cowboys fan, know that he is a
hot sauce so much.
I know, but he is a first down machine. Like all that guy does is run 11-yard routes and get first downs.
For his size, he's amazingly athletic. If people haven't seen it, YouTube Cole Beasley dunking. The guy, he's like 5'9", does like windmill dunks.
He's 5'8", actually, short king. Like
even better. He's shorter than me doing windmill dunks.
And he's a good rapper, actually. Yeah, he's a good rapper too. But so they got Beasley, and then they got John Brown from the Ravens. I want to say he's a free agent, but he was on the Ravens the year before that to take the top off the defense. The only thing they were missing was a number 1 receiver, and they went out and traded for Stephon Diggs, which a lot of people were like, why would they want a diva receiver? He's going to be miserable in Buffalo. Yeah. The guy's been the best teammate of all time. I mean, the guy's making blocks in the open field for other guys. I mean, he's a leader in the locker room, universally loved in the locker room. People
blasted them for like, oh, you're going to have a first-round pick from him. It's like, dude, you have him for 3 more years under team control.
Under a really good contract.
It's like a long-term number 1 wide receiver. Like, and look at the numbers.
He's been better than advertised. Yeah, he's been better than advertised. I mean, he's led catches and receiving yards, and that guy just makes plays. He makes catches a lot of people can't. And honestly, the defense has always been solid. They did take a little bit of a step back this year, but they're not bad. And they lead the league in fourth quarter takeaways, which how do you win in the NFL? You score points in the fourth quarter. You don't let the other people score points. Yeah, exactly. 100%.
On their throat. And
the Bills do not let up. I mean, even with their backups against Miami, but I'm more or less thinking of the Denver game where they just piled on, and they just did not let off the accelerator, which is kind of beautiful to see. And I think Kansas City should be worried. I mean, granted, they got to get by the Colts and then likely get by the Steelers. And then after that, they'll likely see Kansas City in the AFC Championship in Kansas City, which would be an interesting game, but it's not like the Bills aren't going to be used to the elements. They practice in the cold. Yep. They play in the cold.
They live in the cold.
Right, exactly.
Well, I
they were having a snowball fight.
Servitude out in Buffalo. Like, you live in Siberia. It's insane.
Yeah.
Until that lake freezes over, like, it is hell on earth.
No, you're 100% right. But, like, they're having a snowball fight after practice. Guys are wearing shorts. Like, they're not affected by the elements at all. And that's the one thing that Mike Lombardi always says is that if you have a cold weather game, practice in the cold. The Patriots did it for years. That's why Tom Brady never looked any different in the cold weather or the warm weather. And the same with the Bills, man. I think they're absolutely built to win a Super Bowl this year. And this isn't being hyperbolic because I live in the area and you love the fans. Like, we're not fans of the Bills. We're fans of our own teams first.
We're third party.
But like, we're really
slightly biased about it at this point because of our friends. But, like, if the Bills lose, like, it doesn't hurt me personally. But I'm
going to be sad for my friends, and I'm definitely rooting for them for sure over everybody else in the playoffs. But I do think it would be hilarious if it's the Bills and the Packers in the Super Bowl. It's the 2 smallest NFL cities, but I think it would get huge ratings. Honestly, I think people would love to see that matchup. But
you give me Allen versus Rodgers, the 2 MVP candidates, and I know Rodgers is most likely going to win it, but Allen needs to get more talk about it. He's been incredible. And then to go back to a couple points quick, you talk about practicing out in the cold. And Rodgers talks about it all the time. Embrace the suck. The Bills can do that. And the other thing, too, they're having snowball fights at practice or after the games. The biggest thing that doesn't get talked about enough with a team and being good is chemistry. The Bills have it in spades. They love each other. They love playing for each other. They love the city. And the fans feed off of that. There's no more blue-collar city, no more college-like atmosphere than Buffalo. And we're going to see that on Saturday at 1 when 6,700 people go into that stadium, make the noise of like 100,000.
Right. No, you're 100%. You're 100% right on that. And I mean, it's sad that this is the year that the Bills are excellent because nobody can go to the games, which is such a bummer. I'm not really thrilled about the dog and pony show that Cuomo was going to put on at the stadium. I want to vomit thinking about it, but at the same time,
on Twitter, if somebody does not hold up a sign that says "Quarantine Cuomo," I will be so disappointed in Bills Mafia. And if
I don't think they're going to let him bring anything in.
If he's at the game and they just put him up at the jumbotron or anything or make mention of him, they need to boo him out of the building.
I live about 15 miles from the stadium. Ideally, those 6,000 people are going to boo so loud I hear it out front. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But honestly, right now, and we're going to talk about the lines at the end of the show. But as of right now, the Bills are 6.5-point favorites over Indy. Let's see here. Yeah, yes, 6.5 points. They're minus 115. So, I think that's a solid line. I think the Bills do win by more than a touchdown. But last thing on the Bills before we move on.
Oh, you want me to get the last thing?
Yeah, if you want. Yeah.
No, get the tables. Just get the tables. Get all of the tables.
100%.
If you have a table that was handed down by your grandmother and it means a lot to you, you better hide that sucker and lock it up. Do not let it out of your sights because they're breaking all of the tables. And I'm ready.
You're 100% right.
Twitter at 1:00 come Saturday is going to be amazing.
Yeah, no, oh my God, I can't wait. I'm literally so jazzed for that game. I have a Terrence McGee jersey I will be wearing for that game.
Oh, real quick too about the game at 1. Like, I really think the NFL, or I think it's more so NBC, they get like first choice or right of deferment as far as like what game goes in prime time and what they pick. I really think they made a mistake picking Tampa Bay and Washington.
I think so too.
Buffalo has shown that they're fun, energetic games, high-scoring games that people want to see. If you want to get casual eyeballs, which the diehards will be there no matter what, you need to pull in the casual people. Buffalo is the better choice.
So my theory on why NBC picked that is I think they had to pick one AFC and one NFC, and I think they were always going to take Pittsburgh over any other AFC team outside of the Chiefs, just because of the fan base and how big the fan base is. And I think the same thing for Washington. For whatever reason, has kind of like maybe like the 5th or 6th biggest fan base of all NFL teams in the league, which I don't understand. But I think that DMC area
for a long time they were like one of the southernmost teams. I mean, that goes way back to like the 60s.
Yeah, it's like one of those like original 6 NHL teams. I think Washington falls under that, and I think that's why. Yeah. And it's Tom Brady. Honestly, it's probably this combination of those two. I do agree that Buffalo is going to be a more fun game, but because I think Tampa just goes in and absolutely sloshes Washington. I think they beat them by like 15 or more. Honestly.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
To that coin.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that at the end, though. So real quick, I just wanted to go through all the games. You and I both are in agreement that the Bills are going to win and probably win by, we're probably over the spread. The weather actually looks like it's going to be pretty nice here. It looks like 34, overcast, not a lot of wind as of right now. I mean, obviously, I can change that.
That changes so quick off Lake Erie. I mean, you lived there for a long time. I lived there for a few years. Like that, those swirling winds, man, are brutal.
You lived on the damn lake in Derby, dude. You were on the freaking lake.
Was frigid as hell.
Yes.
Brutal. We got 6 feet of snow my first winter, and that was in November.
Oh, yeah, right after Veterans Day. I remember that. All right. So the Rams at Seattle. Seattle is 4.5-point favorites, which leads me to believe Jared Goff is playing. Has that been confirmed?
Yeah, I haven't heard much about it. I don't know which way it's leaning with that.
So 4.5-point favorite Seattle is. I just think that Russell Wilson, for whatever reason, just struggles against Seattle. I mean, I think if Aaron Donald's going to obviously be the key to winning that game for the Rams. But I actually do think Seattle pulls it out. I would actually take Seattle. I don't think I would take the points, but I would just take them to win straight up.
And this one's tough because Seattle early on they impressed. They haven't so much lately. They've struggled quite a bit. Russ isn't cooking like he was early in the year.
Right.
And I can never get a read on the Rams, man. They can beat good teams, but then they can struggle against crappy ones. I mean, we saw it with the Jets. Divisional game though, I think it'll be a close game. I think you're right though. Seattle probably squeaks it out. If I have to pick between Jared Goff and Russell Wilson, I'm taking Wilson every time.
Yeah, I agree.
Goff is good when everything's working perfectly for him. Like Wilson can be great even when everything's going to hell.
Right. I agree. I actually agree with that sentiment quite a bit, actually. So I am sorry, I had to grab some paper here.
No, you're all right. And it's more too about how they script the plays and how Goff gets off to an early start. Like if things go well the first couple drives, they get a touchdown. Goff could be good. They could win the game. If he just say he throws a pick or they just shrug on offense, it could be a long day for the Rams.
Right. So for the Bills game, what are you taking? Indy or Buffalo?
I'm taking Bills in the points.
Okay.
I saw it at 7. If I can get 6.5, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah. Okay. So
Let me look at it. The over-under on that game. And I have the lines right here. Ooh, over-under is 51. Woo!
I wonder if that's a weather thing.
Or worst case, if you want to play it safe, I would tease that. Get the Bills at minus half a point, -1, and get the over-under at over 45.
Yeah.
That's probably a solid bet.
So, all right. So Buff Indy, we both have Bills
-6.5.
Yeah.
And you know what? Throw me in for the over as well, over 51.
Okay.
I feel like that game, we've seen Buffalo in their offense, and if Indy just scores 14 the way Buffalo does, it'll cover.
Right, 100%. So this is -6.5, and the Rams is -4.5 Seattle. So
I hate that line.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Rams.
I take Rams too. It's got backdoor cover written all over it. I could see Seattle just dominating and the Rams scoring a useless touchdown with a minute left. We see it so many times.
Right. So all right, next game, Tampa Bay, Washington. We touched on this a little bit. Let's see here. It is Tampa Bay.
I got -8.5.
See, I have 7.5. So we can just meet in the middle and say 8. I'm still taking Tampa.
I will take the Washington football team. Can't use the R word. Gotta be careful.
Yeah, I know.
Don't want to ruffle feathers.
Yeah, that was offensive. So all right, Baltimore.
The Washington Ruffles, name them after a chip.
That would be hilarious. Actually,
that's an endorsement deal right there. I just got them.
Do you imagine? Yeah, they really should break you off some of that money. All right.
Like $20.
So Baltimore, Tennessee.
I like how we just skipped over Tampa, Washington too. We're like, we're not even going to talk about it.
I mean, what is there to talk about? I mean,
I was going to say the same. It's all about Chase Young. Get pressure on Brady up the middle. If not, Brady's going to kill you.
And I think that's what's going to happen. So Balt is -4.5. I don't know what line you have, but I have Baltimore -4.5.
I have -3.5.
So we'll meet in the middle and say 4.
Sure.
I hate the non-half points. I hate pushes. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, same here. And I hate how at Turning Stone you can't buy half a point. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. So I'm gonna probably take Tennessee in this game just straight up.
Oh, you going Tennessee money line?
I think
that's a good bet.
Yeah, I like Tennessee in this game actually a lot. I think that
people don't understand how that works. +150. What I mean by that with the money line, if you just use an even number, if you bet $100, you win 150.
Yeah, and if it's minus, you have to bet. Like, say if it's -150, you have to bet $150 to win 100. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all about finding the value. It's not always about the teams. Just
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Tennessee money line. I like that. I'll take the points on Tennessee. I'm not gonna be as brave as you.
You're taking
Eric Henry. Oh my God, he's been a goddamn animal.
Yeah.
What has he got? Like 700+ rushing yards in 4 games. Like he broke the 2,000-yard mark. Like the guy is unstoppable.
Yeah, he has. I mean, that
wants to win that game. They better get up quick and try to somewhat take the ball out of Henry's hands. They need to just go up 14, 21-0 quick. And that's the Baltimore recipe for success. That's how they beat every team. They just pile on them early. They have to play from behind. They're screwed.
No, 100%. I'm actually, so that's what I think. I think Tannehill. I think even if they lose, they're probably going to get a garbage touchdown at the end. And not to mention, Cleveland put up a bunch of points on Baltimore's defense. I'm not exactly in love with Baltimore's defense. On paper, they look like they should be 14-2, but obviously they struggled. Then their schedule got easier, and they absolutely annihilated a bunch of not good teams. I mean, they beat the Browns without Myles Garrett. They beat the Giants. They beat the Bengals. They're just steamrolling teams,
which they always do. I mean,
exactly.
When the MVP, they just dogpiled on a bunch of crap teams. They're just blew the doors off early and just coasted.
Right.
They don't win close games or games where they have to play from behind. The exception of the Cleveland game on Monday night.
Right, and even that, I was just like, meh. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm looking at another line here, so I'm a little confused by it. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, so I just think the Titans can throw. They can't play defense that well. I think it's going to be a lot of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. And if I'm just basing my pick solely on that, I take Derrick Henry all day. I think that guy is probably third in MVP voting, in my opinion. I mean, and don't get me wrong.
Some credit too. He's been throwing some dimes lately.
He had that long play to AJ Brown that set up the game-winning field goal where they doinked it in. But even still, I mean, he made the play, and AJ Brown is so underrated. Yeah. That guy, when he plays,
so big and so fast. Like
you know what? He's not even big.
Meathead.
Yeah.
Imagine they just got DK Metcalf. They could have the ultimate meathead team. Just a bunch of like physical freaks.
Right. But AJ Brown, I think, is only 5'11", which I didn't realize he plays so much bigger than that. Yeah.
He looks like he's 6'3".
That's what I said. He's 6 foot on the dot.
He looks massive.
He looks so much bigger than that. I thought the same thing. Like, I remember I was like, really? He's only 6 foot. He's 6 foot. Well, not only, but I would kill to be 6 foot. But
it's about how you carry yourself, man. You just,
apparently
a big dude, and people think you're a big dude.
Yeah, and I it sounds like I'm writing Baltimore off, and I am. I just don't trust them. Win a game in the playoffs, Lamar Jackson.
I trust Tucker. I'll tell that. With Baltimore, he's automatic.
That
so if
guy
it comes down to a field goal game, then. But if it's coming down like a field goal game, they probably don't cover. So.
Right. No, you're 100% right. So, what was your pick on that one? You're just going Tennessee with the points.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love your money line bet. I think there's a ton of value. It's smart.
All right, next game, Bears Saints. Saints are 8-point favorites. I don't know if they can make this line high enough. Also, I just think in New Orleans, man, if there's fans there, I would say this line should be 10.
Oh God, if there are fans there, that place is just pure electricity and it gets ugly quick. I think it can still get ugly. Mitchell Trubisky. You give me Drew Brees. You can give me Jameis Winston versus Mitchell Trubisky. I trust Jameis Winston.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. I'm taking New Orleans in the points. Like, I just think that New Orleans really isn't bad at any spot. They're a lot like Buffalo in this sense. They don't really have a weakness. Drew Brees' arm strength is, if that's the weakness, then I'm not really that nervous about them in a dome anyway. I think they're absolutely going to pick this Bears team apart. I just don't. I think the defense is kind of like you put on the uniform and you just automatically assume they have a good defense, but I don't necessarily think that they do. I mean, Aaron Rodgers just lit them up. I mean, they're not the Bears that a lot of people think they are. That's the Bears from 2 years ago. And I think the Saints have a really good defense, and I just don't know how Trubisky moves the ball unless they utilize David Montgomery. But you don't really want to exchange long passes for long runs, when you're the Saints when you're the Bears. I mean, you're not going to be able to match them. You're not going to be able to match them in the air. And I actually think this is just a massive mismatch. And I would have rather seen Arizona in this spot. Yeah. It would have been more fun of a game.
What's the line at? Do you have
-8?
See, I have -10.
All right, well, with this one, we can just meet in the middle, and I'm still taking the 9.
Oh, man. It's so many points.
It's so many points, but I think New Orleans is going to win by like 2 touchdowns.
I'll take the Bears +9. Pulling trigger.
Oh, nice. All right.
Man, when you get that many points in the NFL, they're just – I wish I could look it up quick, too. I'd love to know where the public leans, because I bet you all the public is coming out on the Saints. And the Bears
for sure.
Whenever the public is so heavily on one side, you have to go the other. I hate it. I'll probably be wrong, and I'll eat my words, but I'm going to take the Bears and the points.
All right. Last game, and this is the game that's probably the most interesting. We're going to spend a lot of time on this one. Cleveland, Pittsburgh came out today.
Baby. Dog
but this is the most Cleveland thing that could happen in a year where they make the playoffs. Their coach gets a disease that we're in a pandemic for, and he is not going to be coaching this game. Also, they're all pro left guard.
I think that's a bigger deal too than
I think it absolutely is.
Massive.
And that is the guy that would be blocking Cameron Hayward. And if you're a backup and you have to block Cam Hayward, you're in for a super long Sunday night, man.
For a team that needs to dominate the trenches, needs to run the ball to establish everything, to make Baker Mayfield to play to his potential and to play to his strengths. Like you said, losing your all-star left guard or Pro Bowl left guard, ouch.
Yeah.
Stefanski's big too, but I mean, I don't know. That's tough. And the line has already moved, too, because of it. It was originally, I think it was Cleveland plus 3.5, and now I see it at 6.
Oh, it moved to 6. See, I had 3.5. So
yeah,
I am gonna go.
update it quick. But the last one I just saw was 6. Yeah, it still says 6.
That actually changes. Granted, I have 3.5, and it's only 2.5 points.
Oh my god! In Cleveland, money line is plus 220. If you want to go out on a limb and try to make some money, is your chance.
Man, you know what? I'm actually going to take the. I'm actually going to take the Browns money line.
Really?
Yeah.
Woo! I mean, there's value.
They can run the ball, man. I don't trust Roethlisberger. You know, I just don't. Not that I trust Baker either, but I just think that the Browns. And this is really what I'm basing it on. The Browns have the best player on defense. I mean, granted, Pittsburgh has more of them, and maybe this is a flawed logic. And they have the 2 best players on offense. That's all I'm kind of going with. They do have the best player on both sides of the ball. It does suck that they lost Olivier Vernon. See, now I don't want to do this. Now I'm not. I'm going back on my Browns money line. I'm actually just going to take the Browns and the points.
Yeah. I don't know how. Man, I can't get a feel for this game.
It's hard. I mean,
Cleveland beat them last week, but Roethlisberger didn't play. And usually I hate resting guys, but I think for Roethlisberger it was a good thing. He needed the rest. Oh. Damn, man. I just want a good game. I'm going to take over 47.5.
Oh, okay. I'm going to take the over.
Yeah.
47.
I think Pittsburgh. I think they'll both score. I think we'll be surprised.
All right.
It's not like Pittsburgh doesn't have weapons. Like, get Claypool or oh god, what was his nickname? Mapletron, which I freaking love.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that. It's so funny.
Oh my god, yeah, because the dude's Canadian. It's just so perfect.
That's hilarious. Mapletron.
Get JJ Schuster going.
Yeah.
Maybe get dancing again.
Not since they started calling Johnny Hecker Legatron have I been more in love with a nickname in my life, Mapletron. That's so funny.
My all-time favorite was Doug Martin, the muscle hamster, even though he hated it.
He hated it, yeah.
I love that nickname.
Who was the lineman for the Bears? He was Jewish. They called him the Bear Jew, which I thought was brilliant. It's a take on one of my favorite all-time movies, The Inglourious Basterds. The Bear Jew is a great name. But yeah, man. So man, this so let's get into this Cleveland, Pittsburgh COVID nonsense. So
yeah,
I'm actually going to start blaming Pittsburgh for giving the opposing team COVID because this is now 4 times that they've run into this.
Yeah.
How many times does Pittsburgh have to play somebody that gets COVID? I don't get it. Like, but they haven't gotten it. So I just don't understand. Like, first it was the Titans, and then who they run into? Oh, Baltimore with the Thanksgiving game, and now Cleveland here. So it's
this
3
might
times.
be bulletin board material. This might just motivate them and piss them off. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. It's absolutely unlucky for Pittsburgh for sure.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
For Cleveland, they got to deal with it. That sucks for them. It's not going to affect Pittsburgh.
It is because who knows what they're going to do with that game? I mean, imagine if
they're not
like
moving the game. You can't move all 5 other games just for the one.
I am with you, but I mean,
Denver, they made them play without a goddamn quarterback.
I know they had to sign a game. They had to pull a guy from like out of nowhere.
You haven't made the playoffs since 2002, and you're probably going to be one and done. But the NFL says, "Screw you. We need to." This train ain't stopping for nobody. It's going to make its next stop. It has to get to the Super Bowl. They need to get their TV revenue. I don't understand how you would do it if you push the game back. Even if you push it back 2 days, what does that gain you? You play on Tuesday night, and then say Pittsburgh wins, they get Buffalo, who got an extra 3 days of rest now in the next round. But maybe that is what happens because, like you said, Pittsburgh always gets a raw end of the deal when it comes to like COVID reschedule. So.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, what does 2 days even buy you at that point?
I just don't know what the hell they do, man. I just have never seen
game. Sorry, sucks. The only way they're gonna move a game is like the conference championships or definitely the Super Bowl. Say like we get to the Super Bowl and like Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes comes down with COVID, they will move that bitch back 2 to 3 weeks, guaranteed.
Well, they did say at the beginning of the year. Excuse me. They did say at the beginning of the year that that they can move the Super Bowl. They do have options to move the Super Bowl either ahead or back, depending on how COVID is. I mean, granted, quite a bit's changed since then. But what the NFL needs to do is I think they need to give the teams that are probably going to the Super Bowl, we'll say Saints, Packers, I don't want to say Tennessee, but Tennessee, the Bills, Chiefs, just give them all the vaccine. Just buy like, I don't know, 10,000 vaccines. Just give it to the guys, man. It's, I mean,
Pandora's box with NFL PR right there.
Right. Oh, does the NFL care? The NFL care? They played a serial killer as a freaking they had a tight end on one of their marquee franchises. It was a freaking serial killer. They have I don't know
people too because they're like, oh, it's a competitive imbalance. It's not fair. Hey, spoiler alert: the NFL doesn't give a damn. They're all about.
Well, Doug Peterson does. It's not important to Doug Peterson that there's a competitive balance. There just isn't. He doesn't give two shits. He's going to start you, me, Nate Sudfeld, the guy from my high school that started for quarterback. It doesn't matter as long as they get it doesn't matter.
They're like so entrenched in like their schedule. Like, all right, we got to have the Super Bowl around this time. Then we got to have the NFL draft. Then we got to have the combine. Like, they're a locomotive, man, that literally has no brakes.
They're literally the locomotive from the movie Unstoppable with Denzel Washington. And there's no Denzel to stop that bitch. So it's just going to keep barreling into a small town. They don't care.
Yep.
But
sorry, I mean, sucks Cleveland. Like,
this is a league that also employs Von Miller, who had some really interesting accusations come out today. And did you know that?
No.
Oh, basically, it came out today that he allegedly said to his baby mother, who is, well, not baby mother, but potential baby mother, who claims to be pregnant, that he's praying for a miscarriage. Yeah, that ain't good. So he's saying it's fake, but then deleted the tweet that said it was fake, and who the hell knows what's going on. There's a lot of things you can say that I'm like, wow. No, she put out the text messages or whatever.
Well, he texted. I think, dude.
The funniest.
I'm not saying it's right to say shit like that. That's horrible. But absolutely do not put it down in a written form, especially electronically.
Yeah, I will say the funniest thing about that though is he did point out that he's done arguing in 2 days, and they can either make up or not. So he said he's done. He's only arguing with her for 2 more days. It was like I kind of enjoyed the timeline.
I'll have to check that out after. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So not that that's necessarily the worst thing in the world. I don't think you would go that far. I've never been in an argument where I've said something that brutal, but I definitely think that when you're in the heat of an argument, you just sort of say whatever the meanest thing you could think of. But I guess that's kind of a line you don't need to cross. I would never.
You never watched my mom and I argue then. It's evil.
True, I have not. I will say
she moved down to Florida.
I will say if I ever said that to my wife, I would be peeing sitting down for the rest of my life. So needless to say, that is not something I would have considered saying. Nor would I ever wish that on anybody. That's like one of the worst things that can happen to a human being. It's pretty evil.
So much for him being a poster boy good guy too. I mean, if that is true, allegedly.
Yeah. I mean, you got to throw the alleged in there. So
I know we don't want this massive podcast to get sued.
Yeah, it'd be very tough if our 0 listeners heard this and said something about it.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yep. Somebody just pulls it out of context for clickbait and just like, oh yeah, Syracuse Waterboy said blah blah blah. It's like, whoa.
Oh, if you haven't been kicked off social media for some of your antics, then if you haven't been sued yet, it's a Christmas miracle.
Like it's crazy. I see people all talk about all the time. Hey, I'm back out of Twitter jail, back out of Facebook jail. I'm like, how have I not been there? I say some stuff.
You are a whistleblower too. I mean, let's not forget you are the. You might as well be called the Syracuse snitch boy.
Hey man, you try to close down my gym, and I will go medieval on you, and I'll blow the whistle on everybody.
I think that's very fair. So, all right, we've come to the best time of the podcast where we bring up and talk about whatever we want. So I will give you the floor first.
All right. For the first time since December 19th against Buffalo, Syracuse basketball is going to have a game tomorrow. Hopefully we have a game. I don't know if you saw, I think it was like the St. John's game, but they canceled it 10 minutes before tip-off for COVID. Like,
of course.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm cautiously optimistic. We haven't Dude, not having Syracuse basketball in the wintertime has been harder to detox from than quitting drinking. And I've been sober for 12 and a half years. Like, I am fiending so hard for some Cuse hoops. It's ridiculous. I need it in my life. I'm already planning on getting up at like 4 a.m. to go to work, to drive up north, get my route done so I can be comfortable, and sitting down at 4:30 in the afternoon, which I don't know why in the COVID era we have to have these crazy afternoon games because I guess everybody else is home, but whatever. But I need Cuse hoops in my life. Like, I need it, man. I don't know what else to say. Like, I flipping need it. And then, we got paused because, and it's just so absurd to me, the Buffalo player tested negative on Sunday, the day after the game. And then through contact tracing, Syracuse needs to put their program on pause.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, which is just, the whole thing is insane, even though they're getting tested like 3 times a week, and it's nuts. They're even wearing these like microchips for contact tracing so they can tell how long each player has been next to each other for, the duration and everything. And then I was like, okay, men's hoops is paused for a bit. Like, at least I have the women's hoops. I can watch Tiana. No, they have a COVID case through contact tracing, and now they're paused for 3 weeks. I'm just like, and now they were originally paused, I think, for another contact trace, and then they had a positive case in their program. I'm like, dude, I just can't win. Like, I don't know. 2020 has sucked, and 2021 is starting off pretty crappy too.
So, you are not incorrect on any of that. Yeah. So, okay. So this would be the second thing. It's not that I mean to steal it from Kevin Clancy from Barstool, the KFC Minuteman thing, where he did talk about the Von Miller thing today. That's kind of why it was in the fresh in my head. But yesterday, I actually heard this story a while ago about Bean Dad. Do you know who Bean Dad is?
Yeah, I know. I watched this yesterday on his Instagram.
Okay, so
exactly what you're talking about.
So the only thing I'm going to say about it is that I don't want to copy what he said because I think he kind of nailed the whole thing. But at the same time, first of all, if you're making all that up just for Twitter clicks, like, you're a bad person. And if you really did that, you're a bad father. Like, 9 hours? You let her fumble with a can opener for 9 hours? I give that little girl a lot of credit, though, if this is all true. What determination for her to use a freaking can opener, honestly.
Yeah.
But also, to every single parent out there that does this kind of stuff to their kids, like, granted, it's not child abuse. Let's not be crazy here and say, oh, you're depriving them of food or whatever. No, but it's these, like, it's like the page. Like,
you're gonna feed them. You're not gonna let them starve to death.
Right. But I do think the parents that like kind of try to do this stuff with their kids, like, there's a Twitter or a Instagram page called Kids Getting Hurt. If you put your kid on that, you're a bad parent. Like, because I don't know what it is. I don't know. But there's something about, like, people, like, the psychological warfare that people have on kids. Now, it's funny to bust their balls. Yeah. It is funny to, watch them do stuff. My daughter screamed at me today, which is hysterical when she gets upset. And I try not to laugh because I don't want her to not feel validated. And again, none of that is exactly child abuse. But at the same time, if you're going to psychologically damage your kids, you're a bad parent. Pull out. Maybe don't have any more. Maybe get your junk laminated so you can't have any more kids. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, there are times when I'm like,
there's a lot of comedians, though, that would tell you that traumatizing children is what made them who they are and made them millions of dollars. Like Bill.
There's a lot of serial killers that would say the same thing. So
this is true.
Yeah. So
they don't start abusing animals and dissecting them in the backyard, and then you're good. There's a fine line. You got to find it.
No, or you could just be nice to your kids and open a goddamn can of beans for them. It's just like for. And I think granted I don't have kids, but like I hang out with my fiance's kid sister all the time, and she's the baby of the family, so everybody kind of like does everything for her. And I'm all about, like, I'll show you how to do it, but I need you to do it yourself. Like, teach them the ways. But to just like sit there and like watch your kids struggle and give them like no encouragement or like no direction, yeah, that guy's an asshole. That guy's an asshole. But
Yeah.
I will say, I'm doing this thing with my daughter now, which is I'm trying to get her to solve her own problems because
Yeah, good. She'll grow and be independent. She won't have to
or
rely
she'll
on
be
a
in
man if she's
therapy her
restricted.
whole life, and I will. Yeah, so let's not have that happen.
No,
Or
it's
she'll be in
helpful.
therapy her whole life, saying my father made me solve my own problems rather than helping me or doing things for me. That makes me a little nervous because she does get upset. She's prone to sadness really quickly, which is really depressing. And then I got to bring out my. Yeah, it's really sad. She gets really upset really fast. So I got to start bringing out the characters. Billa the gorilla. So I walk around the house like a gorilla. There's Bird Bath Billy, where I pretend to be a bird. There is my favorite Whalium, which I pretend to be a whale, which is hysterical. Whalium is the greatest thing I've ever said in my life to her.
You're missing a key character, and the fact that you haven't brought this up and going dark with it just amazes me.
Bill E. Goat.
No, Buffalo Bill.
See, no, I'm not gonna subject you to that. There's a lot of things I can't do that character does in front of my daughter. You know,
this is true. Well,
yeah,
you're like, oh, come on, get in my pit.
Oh my God, give me back my daughter. I will tell you that is the funniest character in movie history. You know what? And you lost a bet. You lost last week's lines. You have to watch Silence of the Lambs because you have not watched it yet. So you need to find it on a streaming service. So you need to purchase it on Amazon and watch it.
Well, and my fiance has never seen it. So she never, I do that impression all the time. And I'll take you deep dive into it. Like when I say I do that impression, we've had people over in the summertime, this past summer, and a buddy of mine were in the hot tub. I was like, yo, watch this. I'm going to Buffalo Bill my fiance and her friends. She had two of her friends over. I literally got out of the hot tub, pulled my shorts down, naked, tucked it back between my legs.
No. I don't know where this is going
walk
at
in front of all the ladies, just present it. Oh, come on. Get in the pit.
Have you seen the movie?
Oh, yeah. I mean, not in a very long time.
Okay.
We're talking probably 10 plus years now.
All right, we'll rewatch it with her because you'll enjoy it. I don't need any more of I don't think you need to start digging a hole in your back room and spraying her with a hose, but that is the funniest character in movie history to me. That character is hysterical. He is right up there with
the pierced nipple, the sequin robe.
It's not even that. It's just I don't know why he just killed me. I don't know why he made me laugh. It's not even necessarily the stuff at the end. It was just kind of like when she's in the hole screaming and he just looks down and starts screaming back at her. It just kills me. I do not know why. But then
it's funny and it's just psychological torture. It's amazing.
So I'm trying to think of the funniest movie characters in history, and I think Melissa McCarthy from Bridesmaids is up there. She is so funny in that movie. So my favorite is the guy from Office Space with the glasses, the older guy who's like, I deal with the goddamn engineers, or I deal with the goddamn customer, so the engineers don't have to. The guy who literally had no purpose at that company at all. I don't know why that guy kills me too. And Lumbergh from Office Space is amazing. But
my funniest all-time character, and it's overall like everything he does in the show, but there's one specific scene of an episode. It'd be Charlie Day, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And the moment I'm referencing is when Mac goes over to his apartment, and Charlie found a bunch of stuff from Dennis and Dee's grandfather and found out he was a Nazi. So Charlie opens the door, answers it, and he's in a full Nazi officer's uniform, just eating a banana. God. He's like, "Hey, man, what's up?"
That's hilarious.
You've ever seen. It's so inappropriate, but so
I never got into that show though. I'm not a TV show guy. That's the other thing too.
I'll just send you best of clips because they have some of the funniest visual stuff. It's insane.
Oh, hey. Side note, not related to anything. Just got an update from TMZ from a friend of mine. Dr. Dre suffers brain aneurysm in ICU in LA hospital. Not doing good.
Oh, damn it.
Yep. Doctors don't know what is causing the bleeding, and they're doing a battery of tests.
Oh, that sucks.
Yike. That is not good.
Wow. That might end it on a downer. Jeez.
All right, sorry. Man, if we had music, I would actually play some Dr. Dre, but we don't have music.
I thought you were gonna say In the Arms of the Angels, and I was gonna say, wow, what a dick.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I would never play that. Maybe I'll just play I got some right here.
Next episode.
Yeah, you know what? We're just gonna do Dr. Dre, Apple Music Essentials, and we're just gonna hit shuffle.
Yeah, nigga.
This song, you know, it's funny.
We're not supposed to curse, and you play a song that just blasts the neighbor word.
Yeah, I did not anticipate ninja being the first word to come up on that. I didn't blast it. I just did shuffle on Apple Music. I have the proof right here.
Dude, we got railed for cursing too much one episode, and you bust out the N word on a song.
I did not bust it out. Snoop Dogg busted it out. I would never say that word. I censor myself when I'm singing a rap song. I'll just bleep myself. Like you know, I'm like a I'm like
never know who's watching.
I'm a human Walmart edited CD. So anyway, you know what, I would say Snoop Dogg.
You gotta be careful using that neighbor word. Some guy might come up and TKO you.
I did not say that word. Snoop Dogg said that word on my phone. I was not anticipating that being the first song.
A warning to other pasty white men: you might get a twisted T upside the skull.
All right, real quick. We're about to end the show. We were trying to end the show like 5 minutes ago, but let me just say, has there ever been a more satisfying video?
No.
That kid deserved it. Somebody put it to Dave Matthews, which made me laugh even harder. But
dude, you can deep dive on YouTube. There's more than just Dave Matthews. There's like every conceivable song. It's amazing.
That's hilarious. So I was like, he's holding that twisted T. I when I first saw it, I had no idea what was going to happen. I was like, God, I wish. And I thought it was a RX, Arizona RX, like the Arizona energy drink or whatever. I was actually thinking it was that, and I was like, God, I hope he hits this guy with the Arizona. Like, I really, really wanted him to hit him with it, and he did it, and I was so happy. And
dude,
then
those cans, when they're full, those things are like
so heavy, dude.
Freaking brick.
And the guy kept going after that. Like, he hit him with it, and then he had to beat him up even more after. And I love the fact that the dude's wife that hit him with the twisted tea can, her name is Teako wife. That killed me.
Yeah, I follow her on
Twitter.
Oh,
that's awesome. That's so funny.
Amazing.
It's a great wife. Speaking of great wives, and I'll end on this. My wife is rewatching The Sopranos, and I don't know if I've ever been more in love with my wife. She is watching it and loving The Sopranos, and it has warmed my heart so much.
My wife.
My wife. All right.
My wife is upstairs talking about bridesmaids dresses with one of her bridesmaids. So,
do you want to do the show for 6 more hours? You want to go Joe Rogan, or do you really want to go up there?
No, we'll get out of it. I'm going to go ahead.
No, I'm just messing with you. I'm going to sleep. So, as an elderly man, elderly. I think next time I talk to you, I will be a year older, according to my birth certificate. So that's awesome. There's.
Oh, and you muted yourself.
All right. Bye.